What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. We're back onto the ideas series where I go to my video and I read out some comments and I give my thoughts on it and try to express new ideas to Dungeon Quest, just to kind of get a new feel and put out ideas that I think would be interesting and things that I would like to kind of talk about. Just ideas for Dungeon Quest that are pretty interesting and maybe would be pretty cool to see in the actual game. However, all this stuff doesn't mean it's actually going to be in the game. These are just simply ideas and stuff I read off my comment section. It's more of a community thing where we get together and we talk about things that we would like in Dungeon Quest. I just go out and I talk about it and I give my personal opinion on it. So as we were told recently, the new dungeon is being worked on, but we don't know what the theme is yet. But VCaffey said that he would announce the theme and he would give us a little sneak peek sometime soon. So for one thing for this video, in the comments, please let me know what you guys think the new theme will be for the next dungeon. At the moment, Volcanic Chambers is the new dungeon and we're working on the next one. I don't know what it's going to be. I'm assuming it's either going to be like a jungle type theme or it's going to be like an underwater type thing. I don't know exactly. Those are just kind of some random ideas I thought about. Anyways, if you guys are new here and you enjoy these type of videos as well, want to see future content, make sure to leave a like as well as subscribe if you guys are new. I'm really trying to hit 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so it would really mean the world to me. Anyway, so I'm scrolling down on my second video on the second episode looking for some comments to talk about, and the very first thing I do see is by GG Retro. He says, a collection book. As you get cosmetics, weapons, armor, spells, etc., it marks them down in the book and you can claim it for gold and gain a stamp in your collection book. I really like this idea because there's a lot of things in the game that a lot of people don't know about, or like there's items or cosmetics that people don't know about, or how many there are. And even to those cosmetics that you can't physically get anymore, like some of the old Christmas ones or the old Halloween cosmetics, if it was in the collection book, it would still show you all of the new stuff and all of the cool stuff that was added into Dungeon Quest. And it'd be really cool if you can kind of like clear out a book. So if you were doing Desert Temple and you got all items as well as the cosmetic, like you could finish that specific page or that section of the collection book. And yeah, that would be really cool to kind of get gold or get a stamp or maybe a title for that specific area. I do really like the collection book because again, there are cosmetics and there are stuff that a lot of people do not know about because it doesn't exactly know. And there's obviously spells and armor that you don't always get when you're playing the dungeon. So if you had a collection book, you can kind of see more spells and more items that you can get. And so you know that you're not missing something when you're playing a dungeon. Or if you're looking for a specific spell and you keep getting one, and so you just think that you're getting that one, but the book actually shows that there are two spells, stuff like that. That would be very, very handy. So GG Retro, I really like that idea, and it would be very, very cool to have into Dungeon Quest. It would just be overall easier for everybody, and it would just be something that older players can work towards and finishing, stuff like that. The collection book honestly could be used for the last rune for the Excalibur quest, actually. Like you have to finish a certain amount of the book to get the next rune. I really like that, GG Retro. Good job. From Winston Tang. Interesting name, like the name. New impossible mode. The mobs and bosses have more HP and do more damage. On the final boss, when it's half HP, it will go into a rage mode, meaning the attacks will do more damage and will be harder to dodge. You can get 3 items, and the chance of legends and cosmetic will be higher. The time is also shorter. So I actually was talking to some people on stream about something like this. I don't necessarily think that it should just be a more HP damage boost. I think it would be more better if it was like a percentage base. So it kind of depends on how strong you are. It percents that off, if that makes any sense. Or you had like 40 million health and the boss would percent that, so each damage would always do 60% of your health, something like that, just to make it really hard. But an impossible mode is very interesting because it makes a more of a challenge. So even in the lower level stuff like Desert Temple or stuff like that, if it was based on your percent and you did this quote-unquote impossible mode, it would still be very difficult for people that are level 160, 170 still, because it based off your percentage. And that would be super cool because it would make it a more of a challenge for us, and it also would give us a better chance to get more legendaries, cosmetics, and more items. I don't really think that it should be a higher chance of cosmetic, but it would technically be a higher chance of legendary because you'd get an extra item. But yeah, this one's actually okay. I was a little biased and I almost thought that this shouldn't be a thing in Dungeon Quest, but the more that I think about it, it would be better for higher level play. And I know a lot of my ideas that I talk in this series is for higher level players and not more or less for lower level players. And the reason why I say a lot of stuff for higher level players is because you have a lot of content as a lower level player, and you have a lot of stuff to do when you're new to the game. But when you're up in the higher level stuff, it gets very repetitive and there's not much else that we can do. So that's why I do bring up stuff, but you know, it all is helpful for everything, exactly like the collection book. That would be good for higher level play as well as lower level play. But I just wanted to bring that up for people that are curious about why I don't talk about lower level stuff. Mr. Nightblock said it would be very helpful if they added set saving. So when you want to change classes, you could just select the set that you have saved, and maybe they could also save the skill points. This is a very good idea as well. The weird thing about it though is I wouldn't say it's not that hard to switch to different classes because you have to click like 4 buttons. However, the skill points does get a little bit annoying because you have to keep resetting, and then you have to spam click to get stuff. Maybe if they changed it so skill points can be held, so you don't have to spam the button, you could just hold it or put in a specific number, so it's a little bit quicker to put skill points in. That would probably be better. But I don't really think a set saving is super necessary because it's not that hard to find your items and equip it. You literally have to click 3 clicks. However, with that in mind, I do think that you should have a search bar in your inventory, because that way you can search for specific items. Or have a sorting system in your inventory where you can pick between tank, mage, or warrior, and if you click on each one of those, it highlights or it just shows you those items for that specific class. Maybe that one would be easier. But sets, I don't know. There's not enough stuff for me to think that set save should be a thing. But Mr. Block's Knight was pretty good. So Soul Reap 091 idea said vote kick in dungeon. We spoke about this in another video, but I do think that vote kick in dungeon quest should be a thing. Because there are a lot of leechers and there are a lot of people that I personally don't want in my dungeon that I would like to kick out. But I know you can kick people in it and you can make it kind of a whitelist thing. But I think like a command or something in a dungeon might be a little bit better. Like if you see people specifically leeching or people that are trolling or you know, doing whatever, you can kick them actually inside of the dungeon rather than just on the lobby, because you don't exactly know who they are. But that one's an because I did talk about it in an earlier video. But I do like the maybe add clans or guild in game. There are a lot of clans. Super big portion of Dungeon Quest are clans. If you go to the Dungeon Quest Discord, there's, you know, thousands of these guilds that people have made for Dungeon Quest, and it would be pretty interesting if you could make guild or clans in the game, but there's not much that I think you could really do. I think the only thing you really could specifically do is above your name, you could probably put like the guild name above, so it kind of shows what guild you're in. Past that, I don't really see a big thing that guilds or clans could do. Maybe if there's later on in the future, they could make a whole big update with guilds or clans, and if you have a big enough guild, you can do specific dungeons for that, and you can build up your clan, and even make a leaderboard for the biggest clans. That'd be really cool. I keep calling them clans or guilds, same thing. But yeah, clans and guilds would be cool, because that's a huge part of Dungeon Quest that you don't actually see in the game, but it is on the outskirts of Dungeon Quest. So putting that into the game and making guilds actually more valuable to join, I think would be super cool, and it would get the community more together. And I could make my own guild, you know? We could be the best clan on Dungeon Quest. And the last thing I'm going to talk about is by Epic Zap. And it says Ranger class for old players to try a new class overhaul where the maps look better and the lobby has more lore. So the part where it says the lobby lore and the maps look better, stuff like that, that's just a revamp. I mean, I don't really care for that, but the Ranger class is specific to what I want to talk about. Dungeon Quest has had tanks, it's had mages, and it's had warrior pretty much since the games came out. It wasn't majorly like that. I mean, it was actually more prominent to be a tank, mage, or warrior earlier in the game. It's now more or less just attack. There's not a lot of tanks in the game anymore. I think they need to focus on trying to get tanks to be more of a genuine class to play. But Ranger class is super cool. They could add bows, stuff like that, where you can click and an arrow goes, you know, something like that. But a new class would be really cool, honestly. I don't think Ranger class specifically. I mean, it is still a cool idea, whatever, but you could do any class. But a new class would be super fun. With new skills, new stuff. That way, if we did want to, we can go back and we could play the game again, or go back to old dungeons to explore the new the new class, the new ability, stuff like that. So yeah, a new class would be super cool in Dungeon Quest. Super cool. It would give us something else to do as well and way to explore, because we've had these classes for so long that having a new one would be super cool. But however, I do think Ranger class might be a little bit broken if you were able to kind of shoot an arrow. So I don't know, maybe if they did like an assassin class with like some cool like teleporting abilities or something like that, that would be super cool. But Ranger class, I don't know how they would make that, because it would be really OP to be able to hit from afar without using abilities. So I think Ranger class would be a little bit broken in Dungeon Quest. However, like an assassin class would be super cool, where it's easier to dodge for players, but you do like lower damage maybe, or you can add like a bleed effect, stuff like that. So new stuff could happen. So yeah, that'd be super cool if there was a new class in Dungeon Quest. That'd be pretty cool. But yeah, those are the ideas for this specific video. I usually do a dungeon idea for the end of these videos. However, I don't want to, because the new dungeon is coming out soon, or it's not necessarily coming out soon, but the theme's going to be released soon to public. So I want this video to be more focused on that dungeon, and I want people to talk in the comments about what dungeon they think that the new one's going to be, what theme it's going to be. So make sure to leave your suggestions down below, as well as give me more ideas down in the comments to talk about in episode 4. The most likes more than likely get looked at more than the lower less ones, so make sure to please like comments that you think are really good ideas. Obviously give your own if you want to, and I'll make sure to read them over in episode 4. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hopefully these ideas were cool and good enough for this video, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much. Peace out, Girl Scout.